Hey guys, how are you all doing? Welcome to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto faked his death, and went in a different world, part 2. So before we start, go check out the author of this fanfic, Foxcomm, link is in the description. Also subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Let's start this story. 3 days after Naruto left Hokage Tower, Konoha, Tsunade sighed, as she finished off another bottle. She felt tired now. Like she really was her age. She could only blame it on one thing. Naruto was no longer there saying how much he wanted her job. She sighed, at least she knew he was alive, and alright. She had gotten a private message from the new Kazekage saying that he believed Naruto had faked his death. Moreover, Hinata had gone to find him. Tsunade had been really worried when she went missing, but that message put her mind at ease, but only on that matter. She had more to spare now. Sasuke was not being cooperative. He had repeatedly tried to leave Konoha, but the detachment of A and B that were to protect him made sure he stayed this time. Then there was her apprentice, Sakura. She didn't know what to make of herself anymore. With Sasuke leaving, and Naruto dying after bringing him back to a thankless village, she no longer had the same footholds. Hayashi was breathing down her neck to bring his daughter back. He didn't know where she was, just a few choice details she let him have. And finally Gaara, there was more to the letter he sent. And it wasn't exactly the best of news. First, it contained both his and Hinata's express wish for the fact that Naruto had faked his death to be kept from everyone in the village, but a very select few. Second, while he did not know where exactly Naruto was, he refused to tell her anything that might lead to the discovery of where he was. Finally, he put Konoha on notice. For driving out his first true friend, the truce between their villages was teetering on the breaking point. While he did not wish for open war, both of them knew there were other ways to hurt Konoha. Taking away customers is only the beginning. Banning Konoha goods and merchants would put a huge hurt on them. And it would only take them a few days at the most to find new suppliers. Konoha would take longer to find new buyers, much longer. Not to mention the produce they bought, could they find a new buyer before those went bad? Tsunade would much prefer open warfare if the lives were not lost over political warfare. Had Suna taken that route in the first place, they would likely have crippled Konoha, economically, in little more than 5 years. Especially if they got their allies to help. Upon hearing from the Kazekage, Kyuubi had decided to strengthen their alliance with Suna over Konoha. Even now, she burns to find out just what Gaara told the Raikage that made this happen. Not that the Hyuga clan cared much. They were still more than a little sore over that incident. Hayashi had finished with Shizen, and had gone home, if the sound of his stomping was any sign. Tsunade had told him that she had offered Hinata an S-rank mission to find out more about the demon that killed Naruto, and she had accepted. Apparently, she had not felt inclined to tell him about it. Probably because it might take as little as a month to even longer than 3 years. Or so Tsunade had told him. Of course, she had paid Hinata's pay, but Hayashi saw it as compensation money. He saw that he wasn't likely to see his daughter again. Shizen stepped into the office. What did I say about drinking before it was already done? Tsunade-sama, what is wrong? Must you even ask? I miss him, and I want him back. Even paperwork is better than thinking about him. To think so much hatred is here to force him to leave all that he cares for. It was his decision. I am kind of surprised he did not make it sooner, if the stories of his treatment are even half true. Tsunade dropped her head even more. If I had been here, I could have prevented that. Shizen frowned. If so, if my aunt had a beard, she would be my uncle. What good does if do? All we can do is move forward. Maybe Naruto will come back on his own, and bring Hinata with him. Maybe a team will find him, and bring them back. Or maybe we will never see him again. But no matter the outcome, we should feel lucky that we met him. And be happy that where he is, he has a chance to be happy now. Tsunade looked up from her desk. When the hell did you get that wise? Funny, I thought I learned it from you, Jiraiya, and Naruto. Tsunade sighed. I'm done here today. Let's head home. 3 years later, village hidden in the rain. So, we can finally get back to it, eh? Deidara asked. Looks like, Sasori said to his partner. Itachi, what have you been so quiet about? Problems with the 9 tails? He died. You could have heard a pin drop on the grass in that silence. Deidara cleared his throat. Well, if you are going to drop your bad news, so am I. Isanade is no longer of this world, as well, Well, that is not good, came the hopeful new member, Toby. 2 of the Bijou dead? However, are we going to complete our plans then? Pain looked at them. What exactly happened? I do not know, Itachi said. I kept watch on the little brat, and saw what happened, Zetsu said. Damn, that was one hell of a surprise. Just wait till you hear what happened, Itachi, we should tell the whole thing, not just the exciting parts. Fuck that. Everyone here wants to know how Kyuubi died, and I am tired of not telling it. Fine, do whatever you want. The black side of Zetsu laughed in triumph. Your fucked up little brother shoved his fist right through his chest. The Kyuubi brat was dying when all of a sudden, the seal on his stomach faded, and these fox ears and tails sprouted from him. The look on both of their faces was priceless. Kyuubi was crying for a lost friend even as he slammed the other brat into the canyon wall. The look on your brother's face at seeing him still alive was even better. Skipping how much he enjoyed that, the white half said. He went back to his village, bringing everyone on his team back, hurt, but alive. And the people of his village showed they are more fucked up than even me, the dark half laughed while the other side sighed. They called him a demon, and threw rocks at him. He must have had enough because he tore off his headband, and threw it into the shoulder of one of the ninja that was there, nearly taking it off. He retrieved his things from his home, and left Konoha. We tried to follow him, as fast as we could, but his speed was too much for even us. We found him fighting in the canyon against some sort of demon. And the stupid bastards from Konoha showed up just in time to see him get blown up. Nothing was left but a tail, and even that didn't last long, it burned up and disappeared. For the love of Kami, will you stop interrupting me? Don't forget to tell them the best part. Don't forget about ISO. Shut the hell up. The other members were growing tired of this display, and were about ready to kill him. Anyway, I waited to see if the brat just did it to get away from the village. And what I saw was quite interesting. This involves you, Daidara. Isanade showed up with the one-tailed, and a Hyuga woman. What my counterpart was referring to is when the 3 tails brought the woman to his face. Words were exchanged, and he made her the 3 tails. She grew 3 shark tail fins. That means the brat became the 9 tails. What more, after a few minutes needed for her to regain consciousness, she looked at the exact spot that the 9 tails disappeared at, and dove into it. She too disappeared. So they didn't die, they are just in a location we haven't been able to find. Correct, both sides of Zetsu said. I tried to follow, but I could not open it. So I believe this means that only a Bijou can open it. Let's just use the location of to find them. It may not be perfect, but a general location is better than nothing, Haiden said, annoyed. He wanted to kill something so badly right now. They all nodded, and a table came up in front of them. Carved into the wood was a world map. All of them flashed through the same hand signs, and pressed their hands to the table. 7 bright flashes appeared on it. Only 7. What the hell? Both Kisame and Daidara yelled. Where the fuck are they? It seems Naruto did not just want to leave his village, Conan said, but leave this world, as well. And the 3 tails followed him. They are as good as dead unless we can figure out what had happened, and how to find them. Kakuzu frowned. We cannot complete it until we can get them. And to even put the 1 tail in without completing the sequence, will destroy it, Pain finished. We have no choice, until we can find them, the 1 tails, and 2 tails will be left alone. Itachi, Kisame, Daidara, Sasori, and Toby, find them. Do what you have to. Not that I would hope for such a thing, Toby said, as they walked away, but if one of you dies, can I have your spot? One more word, and I will kill you, Daidara warned. How, by explosion? He glared at the masked ninja. No, by art. Boom! Present time, Earth, Masaki Shine. Naruto yawned the next morning, as he stood up and dressed. He was pulling his shirt down, and tying the cloak in place when his nose caught the most wonderful scent in the world, next to Hinata-chan's. Ramen! A small, contained tornado ripped through that house, tossing objects, as well as people out of the way, as it moved to the kitchen and the cook. One moment, Sasami was stirring the noodles, the next, she had been pulled into a spine-popping hug by 2 arms, and 9 furry tails. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good morning, Naruto-san, she somehow squeaked out with no air in her lungs. How much is mine, Sasami-chan? I need air. Naruto let her go, and kept bouncing from one leg to the other. The whole pot is for you. Naruto jumped in the air from joy, grabbed a fork, and was going to eat it straight from the pot. After I finish it, Naruto. It isn't done cooking, and the soup isn't finished. Naruto groaned, as he hung his head, and all of his tails went limp. He went, and sat down at the table. His mind went to what happened yesterday. Both him destroying that ship, and what Jailer said to him. I was paid handsomely to get the host of Tsunami. Is Sasami a Jinchuriki, as well? Naruto wondered. He wanted to ask Sasami, but couldn't. She was only a child. What if she didn't know? Then she might see herself as a demon, as well. He chuckled at that. But then, her two guardians were demons, and she takes it rather well. Maybe I'll just start with who the Tsunami is, but I'll ask Aika. Hinata had smelled ramen before, and thought it smelled, and tasted good, but she was by no means as big of a lover for it as Naruto. So she had no idea why her stomach suddenly said she had to have it now. That morning, a second tornado ran through the Masaki house. She stopped at the table just as Sasami set the pot down for them. Smiling like a lunatic, she grabbed a bowl and the ladle and helped herself. When Naruto accidentally growled at her for touching his food, she growled back. Before they both slapped a hand over their mouths. Gomen, Hinata-chan, Naruto said. I don't know what came over me. I am so sorry, and Naruto-kun, I didn't mean, but I just had to have some. Naruto grinned. So ramen isn't the food of the gods, it is the food of the demons. He gave a quick laugh before he started eating again. He laughed so hard that soup almost came out his nose when he saw Hinata had abandoned all manners, and was shoveling food into her mouth. It quickly became a contest to eat faster between the two so they could have the most. Tenchi was standing mid-step, still in the position he was in when he first saw them. Are they even tasting it? I wonder what that smell is, Ryoko said, walking in. Mind if I try some? Her reply was growls, and first standing on end. Ryoko, don't go near them, I'm not sure if it is safe, Tenchi told her. I think I saw one of them eat their chopsticks before grabbing a spare. At that point, Hinata bit through hers again, and grabbed someone else's, but they didn't see her spit out the stick in her mouth. Sasami was staring wide-eyed at them. They were normally the most controlled people she knew, but this she grinned happily to see her two guardians loved her cooking that much. Both finished their bowl, and reached for the pot. There was only enough left for one more bowl. They glared death at each other before standing up. Let's take this outside, Naruto said. Water spiraled around Hinata, as she walked out. That bowl is mine. Winner eats it, Naruto said. Grand Fireball, no. Water Dragon, no. The two attacks hit each other, fighting for dominance. The fire was being put out by the water was being boiled away by the fire. Steam covered the area, and Naruto used his tails to blow it away. What he found was that Hinata was no longer there. Oh no, she didn't. He ran back inside, and saw Hinata crying, as she looked at Aika, and set down an empty bowl that smelled of ramen. I don't know what that was, but it was very good, Sasami. Thank you, Nei-san, but that was for Naruto-san and Hinata-san. Oh? She looked at the two, and saw them crying over their lost ramen. I didn't know, but you shouldn't have left it alone on the table. Straightening up, they nodded before looking away from each other. Next time, the last bowl is mine, they both shouted in their heads. Lady Aika, may I ask you a question about Jiraiya? Naruto said. Of course, Lord Naruto. What is a tsunami? How did you hear that? Tsunami is the protective deity of our planet. She has been very kind to us, and gave us the most beautiful planet in the universe, although Earth is her rival. Does that satisfy your question? But what does she have to do with Sasami? She gave the royal Jurian family their powers. Sasami hasn't awoken hers yet, but in time, Tsunami will give her her abilities. Naruto nodded. Maybe I misunderstood him. By the way, have you ever heard of the term Jinchuriki? No, I am afraid not. My thanks for your time, Lady Aika. Naruto-san, may I ask something of you? And Hinata-san, Tenchi's grandfather said. Of course, Naruto replied. I have a friend that runs a shrine a week's travel from here. I would like you two to go, and check up on him. I don't mind, but I will not leave Sasami-chan behind unprotected. Then take her with you, Katsuhito told him. But what about everyone there? Naruto, we survived before Sasami, and Hinata started cooking for us. We can do it for a day or two. It takes you 3 to get there, the day there, and the return trip. But won't Naruto glance at his tails? He could put it on to cover them up, but he didn't want to. He had grown proud of them in his time that he had them. Naruto, he is a priest of his shrine, an old one like myself. He will take it in a good stride. Besides, his shrine is dedicated to Kami's messengers. If you are sure then I am, Naruto told him with a grin. He left his office, and went looking for Hinata and Sasami. Naruto found them in a field. Sasami was picking flowers while Hinata stood on a protective watch. Hey you two, how does a vacation sound? Sasami jumped up. That sounds great, Naruto-san, but I would rather explore this planet first. Hinata smiled a little. Sasami-chan, we view vacations as leaving the area, not the world. Where to, and Naruto-kun? Another shrine a week away. Katsuhito asked me to check up on his friend over there. And I thought this would be an excellent time to see our new home a little. He walked over, and picked up Sasami, and put her on his shoulders. I'm going to jump home so we can get some supplies. Ready? Sasami nodded, wrapping her hands around his forehead. She felt his forehead protector under her arm. Unlike Hinata-san's, it did not have a symbol on it. Just a metal plate. The next moment, Naruto jumped into the air. Whoa! By that evening, Naruto and Hinata stopped their ninja run, and sat down atop of a peak of one of the low-lying mountains of the area. Sasami stood on her feet all of 2 seconds before stumbling. That was very fun, she said, a little dizzy. The next day, I found the 3 in a very good move. Tell everybody I'm on my way. New friends, and new places to see. With blue skies ahead, yes I'm on my way, and there's no place I'd rather be, the Kyuubi was singing to keep the high spirits up. Tell everybody I'm on my way. And I'm loving every step I take. With the sun beating down, yes I'm on my way. And I can't keep this smile off my face. Naruto, Hinata, and Sasami arrived to find the shrine was throwing a celebration. The two smiled at their good luck. Everywhere there were people in costumes. They walked out into the street, and sent Sasami down. Naruto walked down, and noticed some many things that made him wonder. The best of it was that no one was glaring at him. He almost tripped when he felt something soft and furry rub his legs. Looking down, he smiled when he saw a fox kit looking up at him. Now what are you doing here? This celebration welcomes foxes, Lord, the kit said, very politely. I am surprised that you decided to visit, as well. Naruto picked the little girl up, and showed her to Sasami. Cute, no? She is precious. May I pet her? The kid nodded, and found herself being cuddled. What is her name? Rire, Naruto supplied, scratching her ears. The temple is just up the road, we can go there, and then enjoy the fair. Naruto's head came over the top step on the stairs, and his jaw dropped. It was a temple dedicated to 9-tailed foxes. Hinata-chan, you will not believe this. She giggled when she saw it. Spying on a priest, she went over to him. Excuse me, sir, and may I ask you a Q question? You may. You are supposed to be Isanade of water, are you not? Hinata froze for a moment, then realized he was talking about her costume. Why yes. I is High P Priest Hiko H here? Yes. He is in his study right now. I am afraid he is sad that we must close the shrine down. Naruto perked his ears at those words. Why must you? Not enough people are coming here, young ones. Moreover, it appears that the temple's guardian spirit has left. No foxes have been seen in this area in some time. The two Bija looked at the kit still being held by Sasami. I stand corrected. May I ask why you 3 are here? We were asked by Katsuhito of the Masaki Shrine to visit his friend to see how he was doing. Oh. That is good news. Maybe you can convince him that selling to that company is not the best answer. Although, I am afraid that maybe even Kyuubi no Yoko would be needed to show people that these shrines are still used by the ancient spirits. Naruto couldn't help but grin at that. This was to all the foxes that grew 9 tails, right? He would not stand for it to be closed. He winked at the others before walking away. A few moments later, a fox's yip was heard behind them. The priest spun around, and his jaw almost hit the ground. I don't believe it. There before them, a 9-tailed fox was walking up to the temple. It gave another cry, one that almost sounded like a laugh, and a squeal. The priest couldn't even move, as it walked up to the door, and scratched at it to be let in. The door opened, and the head priest poked his head out. Yes? Tai, who knocked? He looked around at all the staring visitors, and his apprentice, who only pointed down. At another cry from the fox, he looked down. Great Kami, he opened the door to get a better look at the creature. It slipped inside. He followed it, and so did everyone else. The fox was curled up on the coin box, twitching all 9 of its tails like a person strumming their fingers. Mommy, is that a real fox? A little girl asked her mom. A really bold child went up and pet the fox. The fox leaned his head against it, giving a satisfied laugh like a cry. Tai went up to Yahiko. Sir, what does this mean? If the 9 Tails itself wants to settle here, that would be the greatest blessing this shrine would have received in years, but too many wheels are moving already. This is the last celebration of this shrine. The fox gave a disapproving snarl, something that sounded like the combination of a cat's hiss and a growl. Maybe relocate the shrine then, someone offered. Such a suitable location would be hard to find, Yahiko replied. The boy was still petting the fox. Dad, can we keep him? The fox gave a yip, an obvious no. Hinata was having trouble not smiling. She looked around at the people gathered, and saw someone was recording this. Oh, the trouble Naruto was going to cause. Ryer gave a yip from Sasami's arms, and jumped down. She ran up, and started to try, and catch the twitching tails. The older fox just watched, twitching at the right moment to make her miss. Finally, she let the kitten get a tail. She tried to trash around a bit, and was able to pull a clump of fur off. The 9 Tails stood up, picked the kid up in his jaws, and ran from the temple. The children tried to follow it. Outside, they were heard saying, "Where did they go?" This obviously means that the temple is still in favor of the great foxes, the elder priest said. I cannot let it be destroyed. Like I offered before, maybe relocate it if you cannot keep the land, the man that said it came up. I am Harakara of the Harakara Industries. And I would like to sponsor the move if you cannot, Mr. Harakara said to them. Where would you like it moved? I don't know, Yahiko said. Some places where people will still come to pray, but where the touch of the present isn't as strong. I might know of a place, Naruto said, already back with his friends. Mr. Yahiko, I am Uzumaki Naruto, a friend of Katsuhito. He asked me to check up on you while I was visiting. Maybe you can set your shrine in the same area. I know that there are plenty of foxes there. He does because they seem to flock to him. Good old Katsuhito, always one step ahead. I will call him, and find out tonight. I will tell him you delivered your message. Enjoy your time at the festival. Yahiko couldn't help but smile. A person that was there, and saw the whole thing had taken that piece of fur, and sent it to a lab, saying it had to be fake or something, but he knew it was not fake. That fox was as real as the one that just walked into his room. Again? The fox nodded, and jumped up on his desk. It was grinning at him, before being covered in fire, and turning into the boy from that afternoon. Hello, Yahiko-san. Yahiko wasn't sure, but he thought he was going to pass out. How, what, who, why? All that is needed now is where, and when, Naruto said with a grin. What do you think, Hinata-chan? I think we are going to give him a heart attack, Hinata said from the window, her clothes wet, and a tail rubbing her nose. Forgive the water, please. Now, in order. I am not human, Naruto said. What, and why this is going on is exactly what we said. I am a 9-tailed fox. The 9-tailed fox, Kyuubi no Yoko. And Hinata are better known as the 3-tailed shark, Isanade. This is a little much, I know. Move your temple to the area I suggested. I would very much like to visit it again. Of course, Kyuubi-sama. It shall be done. Naruto smiled his thanks. One of those things that few people didn't know about him was that he hated the past being forgotten. Not things like what a person did. Everyone deserves a chance to start over. He meant things like the shrines dedicated to gods even though few people came to them anymore. By the way, I saw a large crowd making their way here. Apparently, word about a 9-tailed fox visiting one of its shrines that was being closed down. There was a knock at the door. Come in, Sasami-chan. The blue-haired child from this afternoon walked in, carrying the sleeping fox kit. Naruto-san, Hinata-san, I'm getting kind of tired. And there are people visiting for the evening prayer. Hinata-chan, think they want to see another 9 tails? He grinned mischievously. They seem to have forgotten that foxes are also pranksters. Yahiko blanched. His grandfather had told him stories of the trouble a fox could do when he was mad, or in a very happy mood. They could be malicious or good-natured, but they always were very troublesome. And to have it here, now, during the festival, would ruin the reputation of the shrine. "Please, Lord Kitsune, don't do anything rash nor harmful," he said with a bow on his knees. "They are here to give thanks to you, and all other foxes, don't hurt them." Naruto blinked in surprise. Did I honestly sound that serious? I was just planning to change into a fox, and run around the room while they try, and fail, to get pictures, and such. Maybe steal someone's dinner if they brought it. Nothing but a nuisance. Hinata-chan wouldn't let me do anything really fun. The two stuck their tongues out at each other. The priest couldn't believe this. They were acting like children. I have to say, I expected something else from two of the great Bijou. "They are great, aren't they?" Sasami said excitedly. "And they swore to be my guardians." He looked at them. "She will only live for 100 years max," Hinata said to him. "We will live until eternity. She honored us, so we will honor her then. But a human child living with, not that kind of guardian. We haven't adopted her," Naruto said. "She is of forgotten royal blood. This is Princess Juria Sasami of the Juria clan. Though the clan has died, she and her sister are still princesses, at least to use." Naruto was always good at creating a lie on the spot. This priest had absorbed enough for one day. The two Bijou stood up and walked over to Sasami. Naruto put her up on his shoulders and started walking to the door. "Wait, Lord and Lady, I must ask. Is Kami real?" They looked at him and let out a sigh. Not of annoyance, but content. "Have we met her? No." "Does she exist?" "I believe she does," Naruto said. "In our lives, we have seen much that defies even our explanation, but we can see the plan that formed them. Just not the result yet," Hinata finished. "We will see you soon, Yahiko-san." They walked out, leaving a stunned priest. "She? Kami is a woman?" The three walked into the night. With Naruto and Hinata singing, Sasami sleeps. "Even those who are gone are with us, as we go on. Your journey has only begun. Tears of pain, tears of joy. One thing nothing can destroy is our pride deep inside. We are one. We are one, you and I, we are like the endless sky. One family under the sun. All the wisdom to lead, all the courage that you need. You will find when you see we are one." So Jailer not only failed to capture her, he got himself killed, and his ship destroyed. Perhaps I overestimated him. Wouldn't you say so, Washa? The statue did not reply. No, the Kitsune was not destroyed, it was taken down to the planet. Sensors read that the ship is flooded, and is running a diagnostic on every available system. Now I wonder who did that. Could it be your daughters are not down there, could they? And with a full-blown dreadnought, the trouble they caused before will be nothing. The man pushed his glasses up further on his nose, as a laugh escaped his lips. A red dot appeared on his monitor. "Oh look, Washu, a galactic police officer, is heading to the same planet. This Earth. Registration isn't that a surprise. It appears it is Kuramitsu Mihoshi, your great mortal granddaughter. Looks like everyone is showing up on this planet. Might as well make my appearance, as well." Ryoko looked around, and saw that no one was looking. She then went to the lake, and stood on the water before dropping down below the surface. There, at the very bottom, shrunken to the size of a motorcycle, was the ship Kitsune. "Now let's take a look, shall we?" Engine, functioning. Hull integrity, 75%. Expected time for repair with supplies is 28 galactic hours. "I believe that is more than 2 days on Earth," Ryoko said to herself. So, scan for available raw materials. A beam of light filled the water, going into space. "Scan complete," a computer voice said. "Available materials in the system will repair 53% of damages. Insufficient raw materials to complete repair. RAG. Use the debris and other things in orbit around the planet to do it then. Scanning enough refined materials for 272% repairs. Begin drawing in materials?" The projection screen created 2 squares, one said yes while the other said no. Ryoko pressed yes. "Drawing in materials now." "Thank you, young lady," the merchant said, as his ship started working again. "Think nothing of it, sir," GP Officer Mihoshi said to him. "This will be enough to get you back onto trade routes, and to be picked up by Galaxy police patrols. I have already sent the message that your ship is in need of repairs, and they will take you to headquarters to get them." I really am lucky that such a nice woman like you is working in this sector. I guess your superiors wanted to make sure such a nice woman like yourself stayed away from harm yet still be of help. After that, he left. Mihoshi yawned as she continued her patrol. She knew what this assignment really was. An out-of-the-way post where they could pretend she didn't exist. She had caused so much trouble that she wasn't surprised. Yes, her record said she was an excellent officer. And she was to an extent, but even she would admit she was at times. Is there anything else that needs my attention? She asked her ship AI. Despite this being just short of banishment, she still liked it out here, and took it seriously. This quiet little part of the universe was perfect for her. I believe not, Mihoshi, the ship replied. If you would like, I will take over piloting while you catch up on your sleep. Thanks, Ryudomi, Mihoshi said before going to her room. She had just laid her head down when her whole ship was rocked like it was hit by an asteroid. What happened? She jumped up, put her clothing back, and ran to the bridge. We seem to be caught in some sort of gravity beam, Ryudomi replied. But this is one of the GP newest cruisers. Nothing short of a frigate should be able to hold us here. Running a feedback loop on the beam, the computer said. Unknown origin of ship, but from the size of the energy core, it is a dreadnought. Where is it? Mihoshi asked, as she turned her monitors left and right to find the ship. Coming from the surface of the third planet Earth. Judging by the beam, it is a repair scanner. Why would someone take off the safeties for this? Checking there isn't enough raw materials in the system, but there is enough debris around the planet. We must have gotten too close. She let out a sigh of relief. Okay then, simply hail the ship captain, and tell him the situation. I am sure he will let us go then. The ship is automated, and has currently shrunken down to avoid detection. Moreover, the damage to the ship has also damaged the ship's AI. It has no one at the controls that can perform such an action. That is too bad, Nanny, but we are going to die then. Not necessarily. It is possible to abandon ship when it has reached the high needed for the reduction process to take place. The pause will only be 5 seconds, but it will be long enough if timed correctly. The Ryudomi came down to earth and settled over a lake. At that instant, a hatch opened, and the woman aboard jumped out, holding the core programming for her friend. Tenchi saw the ship stop, and the woman jumped. He ran to the lake to see if he could help her, but she didn't come back up. He dived into the water and began searching for her. He saw a flash of blonde and swam to it. Wrapping an arm around her chest, he started swimming back to the surface. As he did, more of the micrometeors entered the water. He was grateful that the ship was the only piece that size that came down. Reaching the shore, he set the woman on the sand. She was wearing a uniform, and she wasn't breathing. Pressing 2 fingers to her neck, he found a pulse. So he took a deep breath, pinched her nose shut, and breathed into her mouth. When she started coughing, he rolled her onto her side to let the water flow from her right lung at least. Are you alright? Tenchi asked her. She nodded a brief yes before passing out. She was asleep, but alive. Shikaku was stumped. He was tired of this imprisonment. 3 human generations have passed since he was first placed within a human prison, then the jar. He had enough. But as long as they kept using that on him, it would continue. His only hope of changing the course he was stuck on was his current host, who he hadn't been able to control since he was let out 4 years ago. Something the host for the Kyuubi said had strengthened his resolve to never let him out again. I give up, he said to Gaara. So you will finally leave me in peace then, Gaara said to him. If we make a deal, in more ways than one, pup. What do you want? Like I need to ask. I want out, of course, and I am willing to give up something for that freedom again. I know of your deal with Isanade. What of it? I will make you the new one-tailed raccoon dog if you agree to release me. And what becomes of you? Gaara was wondering about that. He checked up on Isanade personally. And the shark was still asleep at the bottom of his cove, unmoving. I will become a normal demon. Still more powerful than you will believe, but not the strength I once had. But first I will sleep for a few 100 years. I'd say about 700 to be exact. And you will leave my village alone? You will only even hear me laugh from your memories. Is it a deal? Do it. 2 months later, Kyumogakure. We are honored to receive you, Kazakage, the Reikage said. He was not the same Reikage as the one that had caused so much trouble in Konoha years earlier. This man was fair and just. Not the least bit harsh when it was not needed. At the age of 21, the blonde man still easily smiled despite the world. Or maybe to spite it. He did not give in to it readily. "The honor is once again mine," my friend Gaara said to him, grasping his offered hand. His eyes still were black around them, but you could tell he had slept well in the last few months. "Tell me, how is Yujito-san?" "She is fine. Training hard for those men you warned us about decides to show up." "So a new fashion accessory?" He pointed to a piece of fur that went up the Kazakage's back, behind the gourd, over his shoulder, and tucked into his belt. "Something like that. May I speak with her?" The Reikage laughed. "I wouldn't presume to answer for her, but if she is willing then I am not against it." He leaned in close. "Do try to keep her in a good mood. She has been growing frustrated with men recently, though I don't know why. Anyway, she seems to have a short temper for us right now." His attendant sighed. She knew why, so she explained it to the dense Kage. "It is called sexual frustrations." The two blushed at it being put so bluntly. "Oh. Ahem," Gaara said to get Yujito's attention. She snarled as she turned around, but relaxed when she saw who it was. "Gaara-sama, I did not realize you were coming," she said with a happy smile. She had befriended the young man when he came to sign the treaty between their villages not long after his friend passed away. It was not planned until a few weeks ago. "I have something to tell you. You will actually be the first I told for one of them of this." She grinned at his trust in her. "Let me have it," she said in challenge that whatever it was, she would keep it secret. "While going through my library, I found the scroll of the Sandaime Kazakage. He had made notes about the previous one-tailed Jinchuriki before he died. One of them was concerned that he died because Shikaku was extracted from him." The silence between them was deafening, as this sunk in. "So, if Nikomata was ever pulled from me, I would be killed in the process." "Yes. Our crutch to life has become the demon chakra we were cursed with," Gaara told her. "Hey, you look like you have been sleeping," she said with a fake smile. She needed to change the subject. "I have been. Shikaku, and I have come to a deal. Which concerns the next thing I wish to tell you." Yujito looked at him eagerly. "I am no longer the Jinchuriki of the one-tailed raccoon dog. I am now the new one-tailed raccoon dog." Yujito jumped back, her weapon ready, as his tail moved. "Shikaku, you killed Gaara-sama, didn't you?" "No, you misunderstand. The Bijou have the ability to assign heirs to their power and position. Shikaku has given up so that he can once again be free. I am still Sabaka no Gaara. I am the king of raccoons as well." "Why would he do that?" Nikomata had been listening to the whole conversation. "Because, kitten, how long would you wish for freedom before you finally are willing to give up your rank as a jonin to get it?" the two-tailed cat said through her mouth. "But I sense that you told her this for a reason. Are you hoping I will make the same deal, oh Raccoon-kun?" "Yes," Gaara said. "The Akatsuki will become active again once they figure out how to get Naruto, and Hinata, the new Kyuubi, and Isanade. It is but a matter of time. So the choice is, you can stay inside of Yujito-san, and pray that she is strong enough to beat 10S rank criminals. Doing this of course risks that she will not be able to. And if she does lose, she dies, and you won't even come out in your avatar form once you are sealed inside their statue." Nikomata hesitated, so he kept going. "Or you can free yourself now, and let them just hunt Yujito. She will stay alive that way, and you will be free to do as you please again. The Bijou that have passed on their title are sleeping for 700 years. By then, Akatsuki will obviously be no more. And while you will no longer be the queen of cats, and all things feline, you will still hold considerable power in this world. Not to mention that you will finally be able to live in peace, and maybe even visit your students. I'd say that Yujito would have several kids by the end of 700 years." Nikomata frowned while Yujito smiled. "Very shrewd, Gaara-sama." Nikomata looked downcast for a moment. She very much wanted kittens of her own, but no doubt what had happened to Shikaku would happen to her if she stayed. Was her pride worth that much? A litter for her to look after and care for. "I will do it. Kitten, looks like we will part ways now." Earth, present time, Hinata looked her over. She had learned a few medical ninjutsu while under Kurenai. She will be fine. A B bad bump to the H head is all. "Why, you saved her L life, Tenchi-kun." "I really didn't do that much," Tenchi said, rubbing the back of his head like he had seen Naruto do a few times. Ryoko thought differently. She jumped on his back, hugging him from behind. You're just being modest. You are the hero in this case, Tenchi. I would rather leave that to guardians. Naruto laughed. But if you don't take over, we will never get any sleep. Nope, you are stuck with it, pervert. Tenchi sighed. Naruto still hasn't forgotten that incident with Ryoko. Hinata-san, what's a pervert? Sasami asked. She glared at Naruto. Nothing really, just a title where we come from. One that Naruto really shouldn't use here. She finished glaring at him again. Naruto just smiled, and held his hands in front of his chest to ward off her anger. Lady Aika, Kamade said. This woman appears to be the registered Galaxy Police officer of the sector, Kuramitsu Mihoshi. But why did she crash here on Earth? Azaka supplied the answer. The beam that caught her ship was the repair system of a military-class ship. She must have gotten caught in it. But there are no military ships on this planet, Ryoko. You wouldn't happen to know anything about this, would you? Why do you suspect me? Everyone looked at her, a blank look on their faces. Hey, I can be innocent at times, as well. That made Naruto laugh. Why don't you just tell them that you kept the battleship? Because I was trying to keep it a secret. And how did you know? Hinata spends a lot of time down at the bottom of the lake. I was looking for her, and we both saw it. I like the name, and the fox on the forward hull. You mean to tell me you have had a ship here this whole time, and you were just sitting on it? Aika screamed. Of course not, Ryoko replied. It is much too hard to sit on. She grinned at her rival, as she sputtered a reply. Sister, why are you mad? If Ryoko wanted it, what is so wrong with keeping it? It isn't Jurian. Because Ryoko supplied, not only could this get her, and you hope, the sensors on it could pick up a fly in a beehive. It would have no problem finding her brother. Isn't that right, princess? I demand that you give me that ship. A child, Ryoki, came in meowing. Ryoko gasped. How was I supposed to know she was going to get caught in it? Ryoko replied, ignoring Aika. I am not. No is no. What is she saying? Tenchi asked. She is saying that it is Ryoko's fault that Lady Mihoshi is now stuck here without a ship herself, and she should give the kitsune to her, Naruto told them. Ryer mute herself, as she listened to the two siblings argue back and forth. Ryoko, your sister is right, Katsuhito said. You almost caused her death, and did cause the destruction of her ship. I may not know how it works in space, but on Earth, you are expected to replace damaged vehicles, repair them, or pay for them. Ryoko grumbled about people ganging up on her, as well as how it worked in space, as well. Fine. I'll give her the damn ship. At that moment, Mihoshi decided to wake up. Good morning, she said with a stretch and a yawn. Not even realizing they were there, she took the fuzzy thing from her side, and it changed into a square. She started toying with it, and a screen popped up. Huh! Formerly wanted criminals, Ryoki and Ryoko are in the immediate vicinity. She stood up and started walking. Ryoki is 5 feet, Ryoko, 6 feet. She wasn't paying attention, so she bumped into them. Oh, pardon me. She looked up from the old wanted poster of the two from 700 years ago to see one of the women there, and a child that looked just like the other there, as well. Oh, you two must be. Everyone tensed. This couldn't be good. Their family. Naruto laughed while Hinata giggled. She did take a hard hit to the head. She might be a bit giddy for a few days, but should be better soon, she explained. Lady Mihoshi, those are Ryoko and Ryoki, Naruto explained. She looked confused, but how? The girl obviously couldn't be her. This picture was from a long time ago. I wasn't even born yet. And there is no way someone could look the same after so long. Even the Jurian royal family doesn't age that well. Maybe she isn't so giddy, it is sound logic, Hinata said, but they are. Happens when you are sealed. Ah, that explains it. Lady Ryoko and Ryoki, I, Kuramitsu Mihoshi of the Galaxy Police, hereby again everyone tensed, warn you to be on your best behavior now that you have been cleared of all charges. This is a chance for a new beginning, and a clean slate. Make the best of it, Mihoshi said with a smile. Now, where is Ryudomi? Lady Mihoshi, I am here, the computer said from the table where he had been placed. How can I be of service? Oh yeah, our ship was destroyed, Nanny. Then how am I going to return to duty? Her eyes grew dizzy, and she fainted, to be caught by Tenchi. Lady Mihoshi, the cube said, worriedly. I guess I have to apologize, Ryoko said to Mihoshi. The officer was sitting on her legs, looking at the sunset, unmoving, as far as Ryoko could tell. She didn't reply. I honestly didn't know you would get caught. Still no reply. Hey, the least you could do is say something. Finally she saw movement, as Mihoshi set down the cup of tea she had been drinking. Hinata-san, that was the best tea I have ever had. May I have more? Hinata smiled at the look on Ryoko's face. Before more could be said, Mihoshi turned to Ryoko. Apology accepted, Miss Ryoko, but I will have to inform this to my chain of command. This isn't the best start to your new life. She still smiled, and that grin grew wider, as Hinata brought another pot of tea out. Thank you. Would you like some? She asked Ryoko. Ryoko opened and closed her mouth several times before sighing in defeat. Sure. Can you please not inform your leaders? All damage and destruction of Galaxy Police property must be reported along with the cause, she quoted from regulations. And the offender is expected to make compensations for said damage? Well, I think I might be able to solve that here, and now if you please say that it didn't happen like it did. Mihoshi looked at her wearily. If you mean a bribe, I won't take it. Especially not stolen money. No, you can have the ship that pulled you down. It is a first-class ship, second to few. It would no doubt be even better than your old ship. Plus, its worth will easily cover personal belongings lost because of it. Mihoshi thought about it. I will need to inspect this ship, and I will have to say how it came to be in my possession. I took it from space. It was abandoned because of the damage. There are no life pods on it nor any short-range ships on it anymore, but it still works. Especially now that it is fixed. Okay. She took another sip of tea, and sighed constantly. Since you are trying to make up for it, I guess I can alter the truth a little. I'll say that the ship's subsystems were working still, and it malfunctioned, and activated. Thus, no blame will be cast on you. Plus, as you offered the ship, as compensation, you will be, if to no one else, but me, in favor of the Galaxy Police. Ryoko sighed in relief. That's good. Undisclosed location, somewhere in the land of water. 3 months after the meeting with Yujito, Akio-Sama, the man said. So what do I owe the honor of meeting you, and Lady Ni? I am looking for someone, Gaara said. Of course, I am the best at tracking this side of the continent. A person would come to me for no other reason. We need to find a grown man with a tattoo under both eyes like a tail, Yujito said. Her tails were wrapped around her waist like a belt. I will see what I can do, the tracker said. He was about to leave and get started, but stopped. I sense that there is more. There is, Raiden-san, the two said. Raiden rubbed a hand over the top half of his face. He looked like he had gotten a really bad, uneven tan, with below his nose a normal skin tone while the rest of his face was bronzed. He had been described as wearing a half mask more than once. Personally, he thought it was reminiscent of a weasel's fur. And for a good reason. Then it hit him like a ton of bricks. The two in front of him had some form of facial oddity. The man they were looking for did, as well. And Raiden no longer thought it was a tattoo. You want me, and not for my services. Correct, Yujito said with a smile. Both you and Raijudano, Gaara said. Perhaps there is somewhere we can speak in private. You both are also like me, aren't you? Raiden asked, ignoring his statement. We are. Let us find some place where more people cursed, Raiden said. He took a good look at them. Yujito had slanted eyes like a cat while Gaara looked like he wore a raccoon's mask. And so is this man you want me to find? Yujito frowned. Gaara was a person who respected her. And interrupting him was not showing him respect. Raiden, do not interrupt him again. And what are you going to do about it, little girl? He asked, getting mad. It looked like his tan was deepening. I don't think there is much you can do. The unexpected happened next. The voice of reason was heard from Raiju. Cub, stop being so disrespectful. These two could kill you with a wave from their hands, the voice came from his mouth. And it left a surprised expression on his face. Lord Raccoon Dog, Lady Cat, I ask that you forgive his arrogance. What the hell are you two that have Raiju scared for mine, and his life? I am Gaara, king of all raccoons, the new one-tailed Bijou. And I am Yujito, queen of all cats, the new two-tailed Bijou. And we have full control of the power that comes with the title. He started to back away in fear. My God. He hit the wall he forgot was there. We are not here to hurt you, we are here to help you, Gaara said. You and Raija both. How? By making the same offer to him as I made to Nikomata. As I will make to the four-tailed winged serpent. Freedom, in exchange for going to sleep for the next 700 years. No, I know that if he is forced from my body, I die, Raiden said. True, but there is more to it than just that, isn't there, Raiju? They did it, didn't they? They didn't die, they passed on their title. They did. Raiden Yujito spoke up while dropping her tails to show him them. The Bijou have as little desire to die, as much as we do for the most part. Their life is now tied to a mortal. So they will die when we do unless they are forced out. Meaning they are once again trapped. Does either of these sound like a good option? No. Right now, Nikomata and Shikaku are free. They have lost a lot of energy, and need to sleep it off, but they are free. In 700 years, when they awake, they will have their life again. A blink of an eye to us, especially when we are asleep. But we did not just free them, all things come with a price. Ours, and yours, as well, is that we need the demonic chakra to continue living. The only way for that is if he gives up his title to you. We make this deal, and I am free of him? Never to hear him whisper in the back of my mind again? Only in your memories, Gaara said, but he must agree to this, as well. Who all have done this? The nine-tailed fox was the first to do it, Gaara told them. He tricked him, and took his place when he died, giving him his power and tails. Isanade was next. I don't know why he did it. Maybe he thought he had nothing to lose. Or he knew Akatsuki would come for him. Akatsuki asked both Raiden and Raiju. A group after all the Bijou, Yujito told him. Including ones like ourselves. So you have made yourselves more of a target for them. No, Gaara replied. They will come after us either way. This way, no matter what, we will survive. And our occupants will remain free. Definitely has all the good points while you keep the bad, save for my power staying with you. What about you? Want to become the six-tailed weasel? The Bijou of Lightning? What should I do? They were in a field, as Raiden finished the last hand sign. Then the seal on his right shoulder, and part of his neck appeared, and turned white. He started heaving, and chakra came out his mouth. After what must have felt like eternity to him, it stopped coming out, and formed a six-tailed, yellow weasel the size of a small dog. Raiju lifted his nose in the air, and breathed it in. I'm free, cub, asked for something outrageous. Tell me to call a lightning storm like that time the village was attacked. Make a storm. No way. The weasel began to laugh, and ran around, excitedly, still chanting I'm free, over and over again. Then he fell, and didn't move. I'm tired, he said in a voice that sounded like it barely had the energy to say that. Yujito, and Gaara laughed at that. Yujito went over, picked him up, and cradled him in her arms, scratching his head. I'll find you a den no one will think to look in. Gaara turned to look at Raiden. Those tails fit rather well with the fur on your face. Raiden reached up in horror, and found his face still the same. He glared at the smirking one-tails. Then he looked behind him, and saw 6 weasel tails, as long as he was tall, all of them a bright yellow. That wasn't funny. Yes it was, both Yujito and Gaara said. Gaara, I am going into the mountains in lightning to find him a cave he will be safe in, Yujito said. I will see you when you talk to the 4 tails. She turned, and started running. In seconds, she was no longer in sight. Whoa, do I have that kind of power? Raiden asked. Running like that? Yes. I suggest you think of a way to conceal them like Yujito, and I have. And I must ask that you start looking for the man I asked you to. Just to let you know, all your senses are now 10 times better. My senses? So I can see farther, taste more, feel more details, and want to die if someone happens to fart in your face, Gaara warned. He turned in the direction of the sun, and left, as well. Raiden watched him go. Then he grinned before bunching up his legs. He jumped, and went over 100 feet in the air, laughing. After an hour of this, he said, really, this is the last one. It wasn't. I hate to say it, Toby stated after they had finally gotten the tear to open a little. Only big enough to pass a kunai blade into. We just don't have enough chakra to do it. Itachi looked at the tear, only able to see it with his Sharingan. Only a Bijou can do this. Well, no shit, yeah, Daidara stated. Let us see. The only one that even comes near a bijou here is Kisame because he looks like Isanade, yeah? What is your plan, Itachi? Sasori asked. I can see you have one. One of the secrets of the Uchiha clan is the final form of the Sharingan, which even I have not obtained. Very few, even within the clan, knew of it. The Eternal Manjikyu Sharingan. It has all of the powers of the other forms, and a few others. Uchiha Madara is the only one that has ever gotten it. And he used it to make the Kyuubi no Yoko into little more than a pet. He was actually able to command it to do whatever he wanted. That is interesting, Kisame stated. Too bad that not only is Madara dead, it is the Kyuubi we are after, Tobi stated. Yeah, that does us shit, Deidara told him. You want to get it, and try to use it on one of the remaining bijou, Sasori realized. Itachi nodded to him. Even if it does not work on them, my power may increase enough to do it. He looked to distant Konoha. The Sharingan isn't just called the pinwheel eye. It is the betrayer's eye because what must be done to increase its strength? To get my Mangekyo, I had to kill my best friend. To get the Eternal Mangekyo, I have to steal my brother's eyes and take them as my own. Hey Kage-sama, Yujito said to her sensei. It has been a long time, 6 maybe 7 years. Yo kitten, the dark-skinned, bearded cloud ninja replied. Any stronger at controlling the cat? I'm stronger than you now, she said with a smile. At one time, she told her adversaries she was second to only one person in the hidden cloud village. This was him. Her teacher Kage, the last Jinchuriki. I'd like to see that kind of strength. He grinned at her. She grinned back before unwrapping her tails from her waist. He widened his eyes at that. A gift from the Nikomata? Her reply was a Cheshire cat grin. The old one, yes? Old one? You are looking at the Nikomata no Yujito, the two-tailed hellcat. Her bones broke, twisted, and grew. Her clothing tore in half, as she changed from a beautiful young woman to a cat larger than a whale. Surprised, sensei? He was, to say the least. He could only think of one thing. So you finally took control of Yujito, Nikomata? I am going to guess you devoured her soul, as well. Wrong, sensei, Yujito replied. Nikomata, and I bargained. She went free in exchange for giving me her power. It is the only thing that keeps those like us alive. Yujito, that is really you? It is sensei, they said with what was supposedly a smile. Kage-sama set it up after it happened to him. Now, the only bijou that were not mortal at one time are Hoku, Orochi, and Kaku. Of which, only you are a Jinchuriki. You know, Tenchi, ever since I started living with you, my life has gotten weirder, Naruto yelled to him. Fire encircled his fist, as he destroyed another robot. Why can't you people keep your feet on the ground, instead of in space? I didn't mean for this to happen, Tenchi replied. You think I wanted Sasami to be kidnapped again? It is your job to keep that from happening, isn't it? Wrong thing to say. Very wrong thing. Naruto broke a hole in the deck, something that was supposed to be impossible from what Azaka said about the material. I broke my arm defending her. Hinata is still with Sasami, in case you have forgotten. He grabbed one of the robots, and started using it like a mace, crashing it into several things around him. It was because of that Ryoko looked like they even got her. When it shattered in his claw, he growled, and threw himself at the rest of them. Broken parts flew everywhere. Naruto, covered in oil, glared at Tenchi when they were gone. Say something like that again, and you will regret it. He turned down the hall. Tenchi-san, I have a reading on the location of Hinata-sama, Mihoshi said to him. She pointed down one of the halls. Naruto looked down at the one that said Sasami was down. Follow it, Mihoshi-san. I will go down this way. It was something he hated to say, but he also knew that Hinata could take care of herself. Lady Aika, Tenchi, can one of you go with her? Aika looked between the direction Naruto was heading, and the direction that Hinata was. She knew Naruto would go to her sister, and that was where she wanted to be, but Naruto would get her back. Luckily, Tenchi saved her from making such a decision. I will get her, Naruto. Get Sasami. Naruto nodded, looked at the few going with him, and took off down the corridor. Ryoko and Aika followed him while Tenchi and Ryoki followed Mihoshi. Hinata struggled against her restraints, ignoring the electricity that passed through her for it. Damn ID. Even her strength wasn't enough to break it. I will kill you for taking Sasami. Her water was what made her stronger, but anger was a good replacement for now. In the room she was secured in, there was a stone statue that looked like it would come alive at any moment. She had heard enough about Naruto stealing from him, and Tenchi to guess that is what happened to her. If only there was water here, Hinata screamed in her mind while she screamed in pain. All of a sudden, it stopped, and the gravity bindings on her were released. She slumped to the floor, her tails falling hard enough to dent the metal. What happened? Lady Hinata, Tenchi said, nearly down beside her. It is alright, we are here to help you. Hinata looked at him, and said water. Mihoshi produced a canteen from her dimension pouch, and gave it to her. Hinata took a drink, and poured the rest of it on her. Her strength was back in an instant. I am going to tear him apart. She stood, and looked for the door. How did you enter? We went through the Mihoshi pointed at the door only to find it gone. Oh no! Where did it go? She took out her computer, and started fiddling around with it. No! We are trapped in another dimension. Just great, Tenchi muttered before snapping his fingers. You are from another dimension, Hinata. Can't you break this open? No. I followed Naruto. He got here by using two very powerful, opposite attacks against each other. You three would die if I tried. They turned to Ryoki, who was very excited about the sealed girl. She pointed to the cube, and then to the girl again. Meow. Do what you were doing again, Lady Mihoshi, Tenchi guessed. She did, and the stones started to form cracks in it. Before long, they flew off her. Man, what a nap. Well, Ryoki, what are you doing here, and when did you get so short? Meow. Who is Sasami? I can explain that, Hinata said, as she stood. She is one of the princesses of Juria. The girl twitched at that. She was kidnapped by this man named Kagato. He was saying something about tsunami. Washa blinked a few times before she slammed a fist into her hand. Now I remember. That team sealed me away. You can finish your story later. We need to get out of here now to release some unholy terror. She waved her hand, and what looked like a computer keyboard made of light appeared before her hands. First to get out of here. Kagato, Naruto said, as he entered the room with him, and Sasami. If you let her go now, I won't kill you in the most painful way I know. But I have so much I wish to experiment on her with. His sadistic grin was the last straw for Naruto. This is a big ship, Naruto stated, as his eyes turned red. A shame even though it isn't big enough. The sound of popping and cracking came from Naruto's legs and tails. His ears laid back against the top of his head. Sasami, turn away, you are not going to want to see this. What are you doing? Ryoko asked. What I did to Jailer, Naruto replied. His hands became claws, and then they too began to crack. His tails wrapped around his body, began to grow larger, and changed from yellow to red. When they fell away, all of them were horrified at what they saw. It was a demonic fox over 100 feet tall at the ears. And he was sitting, leaning his head down to glare at Kagato. Only one has ever been able to stop me, pathetic human, the Kyuubi said to him. It took death itself to stop me, and even then I did not die. And now eyes full of hate and anger narrowed while he licked his lips. Now I shall see if you taste good in ramen. A roar similar to his tore through the ship with the sound of twisting metal. Moments later, on the other side of the room, something the same size as Kyuubi no Naruto broke through the wall. It was a mass of teeth and scales. Hinata's cold blue eyes looked about and found Sasami. Naruto, where is he? This seemed to make Kagato realize he might have taken more than he could handle. No, impossible, he scoffed. No being is more powerful than me, as long as I can get the crystals. Oh, Ryoko, come here. Ryoko gripped her head, and slowly, fighting the whole way, she started walking over to him. A giant paw came down on her, pinning her to the ground. I don't know what you did to her, but you will pay all the more dearly for it. Washu walked in after Hinata. I don't believe it. The power these two have she swallowed. Remember her attempts to create a being more powerful than herself back when she was still a goddess. Now she doubts that had that been successful, they could have compared to these two. She could feel the power radiating off them. Kyuubi no Naruto raised his tails to just in front of his mouth. A ball of chakra formed there, and he swallowed it. Am I glad this room is so big? Makes the damage more contained. Not that it will be held back much. After all, I can destroy mountains with just a wave of a tail. He opened his mouth, revealing the orb again. It had been refined and compressed. Spotting what he was hoping was the right target, he shot the orb at it. No! Not the computer mainframe! An explosion half a mile at its widest filled the 6-mile room. Thank you for keeping it small, Naruto-san, Hinata said. She lunged forward, tails tearing apart the walls and floor. She bit the platform and tore it apart. Sasami flew into the air, and Naruto caught her on a tail. Tenchi-san, take Sasami and everyone from here, because we are about to stop holding back. Ryoki, Washa shouted to the cabbit. She changed into a ship inside the room. Everyone get aboard. I don't know how much power they are holding back, but they have broken the instruments I was just trying to use to find out. Naruto lifted his paw and sniffed Ryoko. His eyes fixed on the gem in her hand, and carefully so he didn't hurt her more than necessary, drew his claw along it until he pulled it out. Ryoko, is that better? What happened? He took control of you through your gems. He tossed the one he had in the air and swallowed it, just to keep it safe. Now, where was I? Fire began to encircle him. He slammed his paw down on a whimpering Kagato, hard enough to break bones, not enough to kill him. What should we do to him, Hinata-chan? I think making him watch, as both him and this ship gets turned inside out is a good start. Chakra spread from the two into the walls around them. Soon, the whole ship glowed a dark red. Must go faster, Washu chanted, as Ryoki flew for the exit. Must go faster. Go, 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 go. The chakra was catching up to them. Even as they escaped, the groan of straining metal reached into space. Soon, the biggest ship the universe had ever seen was the color of a red giant star. Washa looked behind them, as the ship suddenly crumpled in on itself, and began to expand again. Kyuubi and Izanade were atop it. The screen focused on something between them. They had done what they had said. The ship, as well as Kagato, had been turned inside out. What made her almost sick was that Kagato was still alive if his screaming was any sign. We won't let you die yet, Naruto said to him. We have an eternity of torment planned for you. Like eating your body slowly, piece by piece. Keeping you conscious through the whole thing, and repairing the damage even as we go, Hinata said to him. Oh, we have many things planned. Washu realized what kind of power they had then. She could tell they were good people, but the power inside them was that of demons. And it knew no bounds. Naruto walked back to the Masaki grounds like none of the past trouble had happened. That Tenchi had not been the one to save him the first go-round through the use of the 3 light hawk wings. That Sasami had not been kidnapped. And worst of all for them, like he had not tortured a man beyond death. Ryoko, this is yours, he held out the jewel. She took it hesitantly. This holds the greatest power in the universe, maybe second greatest. You are just going to give it up. I am not a tyrant that wants more power than I have a right to. I am just a demon. He said that last part with a sad smile. He then looked at Sasami, and took on a stern look with her hands on his hips. You, young lady, scared me. I know, Sasami replied, very sad. She did, as he had told her, and didn't see it, but she had felt it. And that they had had to release that part of themselves because she was caught, made her very sad. Good, Naruto said before hugging her, but I am more worried about whether or not you are okay. When he finally released her, Washu came up to him. Can I speak to you? Sure, let me guess, in private? Yes, in here. The closest? She opened the door, and pushed him in. It was a laboratory that was bigger than the house. As with you, never judge things by appearances. Now, first, I am Washu, the greatest genius in the universe. I really don't like geniuses, Naruto stated. Terms like that, and dope only push people higher or lower than they really are. I shall keep that in mind. Now anyway, I was hoping you'd tell me just what has been happening. You seem a catalyst of a few things from what I heard. No, I'm not. I'm certain that things would have continued on, as they were without me here. Well, explain it to me anyway. Let's start with how everyone got involved with Kagato. And what happened to him. He had his soul bound to his body until it was destroyed. And we sent him adrift in space. Maybe if he is lucky, he will get pulled into the sun. That is pretty harsh even if he did hurt you, and others. Worst of all, he tried to kill Sasami. You are pretty smart, so you know who the Tsunami is, correct? She nodded. I believe Sasami is something like the Jinchuriki of my world. Jinchuriki? They are humans that have had a demon sealed inside their body. At one time, I was one, but when it came time for me to die, Kyuubi gave up his life for me to live. I always thought him an evil bastard, but he did that. And you think Tsunami is inside Sasami? Yes. I once met someone that was after Kyuubi, to take him from my body. After he was driven off, I was told that if the Kyuubi was taken from me, I would die. I don't know if that is what would have happened if Sasami was parted from the tsunami, but I know I will never let that happen. Naruto sighed. Myself and Hinata were watching Sasami play down by the sacred tree. When Kagato appeared, he was spouting some shit about his slave, and Ryoko. Next thing I knew, I was having to defend myself from what I thought was a Ryoko clone, but it might have actually been her if he was controlling her. Either way, I held back because I did not understand what was taking place. Hinata stood between Kagato and Sasami, her staff ready to kill him. As Ryoko and I fought, Kagato said, "I finally found you, Tsunami. Now we shall leave this planet, and your mortal form behind." That is how I knew he would extract her. Next thing I knew, Tenchi and Katsuhito showed up. Tenchi was using his sword while Katsuhito grabbed the Gouda from my belt and used it. No asking how to use it. He already knew. Either Tenchi let him use the sword Tenchi or, as I thought, he is Yoshi. Turns out I was right. Kagato tried to take both the Gouda and Tenchi, but couldn't remove them from the sacred tree where they had been thrown. He then surrounded Hinata and Sasami in a barrier. "Come, Prince of Juria. If you want these two alive, you will have to fight me. Aboard my ship." Which led to me being released. Yes. Washa thought for a moment. "You know, Ryoko and Ryoki are my daughters. They told me about when you first met 700 years ago." "Yes? I would very much like to find out the extent of your abilities." Naruto arched an eyebrow. "As in an experiment? A test subject?" Don't worry," Washa-chan said, as she pushed him to a giant test tube. "This won't hurt much." All of a sudden, she was pushing her computer. "Kawarimi no," Naruto said from the other side of the lab. "Replacing yourself with something else to escape enemy attacks. There is a whole world of people that can do that. Bye." He walked out the door. I see Washa smile. "It will be hard, but I will capture him for myself." Sasuke, stripped of his rank as ninja for his betrayal, as well as insults to the Hokage and the council, sat in his home. He had his chakra sealed away to the point where even he could not reach it, completely making the seal on his neck inert, as well as his Sharingan. His Mangekyo Sharingan was reflected in his eyes, the spiral of circles startling people that weren't used to seeing him, but they lacked anything that could make use of them. The bottle slipped from his hands as he growled. "Damn you, Naruto. This is your fault." "Something wrong," a voice called from nowhere. A voice that even when he was drunk he would recognize. "Come on out, Itachi. I thought my chance for revenge was over and gone, but you came to me instead. Really, I must thank you, older brother." A kunai appeared in his hands. "I am disappointed, Sasuke. You gained Mangekyo only to lose it. No matter though. You still have achieved its power. I wonder, could you even hurt me?" Sasuke finally pinned down the voice, and threw the kunai at the spot it came from. "Damn right I can." The kunai never made a sound when it hit its target, but it did when it was thrown back. Taking Sasuke in the arm, he was pinned to the wall. "My poor little brother," Itachi said, appearing from the darkness. "You just don't understand. You have never understood. These eyes are the way to power." Sasuke started to laugh at that. He couldn't even force himself to stop. "Is that a fact? Is it? Something I had pointed out to me. If these eyes are so damn powerful, how did the first beat Madara? If these eyes are so powerful, why did the second get chosen instead of the new leader of the Uchiha? The same with the third? Why did nobody become the strongest ninja in the world? Naruto's father, a nobody himself, beat the hell out of me even after I got these fucking things." He pulled the kunai from his eye. "You know, you lying bastard, there is more than one way to get to Mangekyo. Not that it matters anymore. I really wish you chose a better time to come here." "Why?" "Because I haven't been left unguarded since I used the Tsukiyomi on Kiba when he was assigned to watch over me." He turned his head and heard what Itachi missed. 2 bodies, one made of wood, hitting the ground. There were no less than 20 Black Ops ANBU here. 2 of your group are dead. And so are you. I may not be the one to kill you, but I will be satisfied. Tobi and Kisame were forced inside, fighting for their life. This could have gone better, Tobi said, but I guess now there is room for me. Daidara-senpai, I wish you a happy afterlife. Shut up, idiot, Kisame yelled. Great fucking plan, Itachi. It matters not, once I get them, we can leave. He turned around, not to find Sasuke. Instead he saw Sharingan Kakashi with his own Mangekyo. Behind him was a pink flash, as someone rescued Sasuke. Itachi, Kakashi said with a nod. Kakashi, Itachi replied. He tried to activate his Sharingan, but Kakashi was ahead of him. A vortex appeared, catching Kisame and Itachi, and pulling them in. Tobi looked around and said, yeah, this could have gone a lot better. Bye. Without even a hand sign, he was gone. Kakashi-san, where did you send them? Kakashi smiled under his mask. I am not completely sure, but I believe it sent them to another dimension. Yawn. What a dreary dream, Yuzuka said, as she stretched. Well, I wonder what trouble I can cause today, huh? She opened the tunnel to the Tree of Darkness, and tilted her head at it. Something was different. Your power is being drawn by something else now, not just me. She flew back up to the monitor room, and turned her screens on to the source. What she got was a house with people in it singing. They began flipping views until they settled on a blonde-haired boy with 9 fox tails, and a blue-haired girl with 3 shark tails. Oh goody, the Kyuubi is back, and he brought the Isanade with him. Well, if they want, I guess I can let them take some of your strength. After all, the screen in front of her changed to show the Tree of Light. They are taking some of your power, as well. She looked around at the people that the two had bonded with. It wasn't unknown that demons would befriend mortals. She herself has done so a few times over the eons. Yosho, and another prince of Juria, she growled, as she remembered what the Juria did to her. I'll make them pay. She grabbed a hair from Prince Charming, as well as Kyuubi and Isanade. Might as well have some fun with Kyuubi and Isanade as well, she giggled, as she imagined what all she could do. She liked the old demons before they were sent to another dimension. And these two, while having a good streak, were living up to the name if what she saw what they did to the humanoid was any sign. That was so nasty she decided to hang a scroll of it in her room. She went to her fusion tanks, and took the black hair from the prince, and mixed it with her own. She went to another, and mixed the demon's hairs. Soon I am going to have so much fun with them. The Daughters of Darkness Arc. Hinata opened the window, and looked out over the hills. Naruto-kun, wake up. Mumble, mumble. Naruto. She leaned in close, and listened to what he was saying. No, don't, she thought he was having a nightmare. That is my ramen, Hinata-chan. She giggled. Figures. Naruto tried again, her voice sounding sweet. Wake up, Naruto-kun. The fox jumped up onto the ceiling, his hand holding the Gouda. What? Oh, morning already? He dropped down, and gave Hinata a kiss. Good morning, love. She giggled, as he held her. It had been a year now, and nothing bad had happened since Kagato attacked them. About the time you wake up, Sasami is almost done with breakfast. She went over to the window. Good morning, Aika-san. Good morning, Hinata-sama. Are you and Naruto going to visit the Fox Temple today? Sasami said she wanted to teach Tenchi about Startaka today, so only Naruto is going while I stay and watch over Sasami. Have Naruto say hi for me then. Sasami put the last pot to boil and went outside. Mihoshi. Coming. Getting in there, she pushed the last of the clothes in and started the washer. Mihoshi then brought out the wet laundry and started hanging them up on the line. Ha ha! Naruto-kun, I need to start cleaning. Stop tickling me. The older woman chuckled. Even though they were the most powerful beings in the universe, they acted like such children. Naruto walked out the house a few moments later. Lady Aika, Lady Sasami, I am going to go check on the shrine before I go. I will be right back. Sasami said okay. Make sure to get something to eat before you go. Ryoki changed into her child form and jumped on Naruto. Ryo. Okay, little bit, I'll be back soon. He lifted her up and gave her a hug. He set her down and started walking away. Hey Ryoko, I'll make sure to grab some of that sake you like. She waved to him while brushing her teeth and cleaning the futons. Thanks. Morning Tenchi, Naruto said, as he met him on the stairs. Anything happened while you were up there? Nope, same old peaceful temple. Naruto, you should relax. Nothing has happened since Kagato. But that doesn't mean something won't happen. I let down my guard before, I won't again. Naruto began looking around, and then Tenchi felt it too. Something was coming. What Naruto started to say before he looked back the way Tenchi came. On the steps, 2 young women were sitting. One was in a dress and a sun hat. She had pale skin and blue hair. The other was smaller, around 8. She wore clothes reminiscent of his, but with both a red gem and a blue gem. Her hair was bright yellow, had 2 fox ears coming out of it, and her eyes were pupilless and sky blue. On her neck were 3 gills on each side, and she had the tail of a fox behind her. It moved to reveal another like a shark's. Dad, the young demoness said, as she stood and jumped on Naruto. What? Came from Tenchi, as he hadn't seen her behind him. He heard footsteps behind him and turned around. A girl was next to him. She took off her hat and said, Daddy, I'm sorry I'm late. Naruto poked his head inside and looked around. Washu-chan, has something just happened to the time, space, whatever? Why do you ask, Naruto-kun? You wouldn't believe me if I just told you. Hinata-chan, you might see this. Sasami came out of the house. Hello, Naruto-kun. Eh? Who are those 2 with you, and Tenchi? Ryoko came out, followed by Aika and Washu. Hey, who are you 2? Ryoko asked. We have visitors, Mihoshi said, really excited, but then she saw something move behind the one by Naruto. Naruto, did you grow another tail? Naruto grinned ruefully. No, Mihoshi-san, I will always have 9 tails. Then why do I see 10? The girl with Naruto turned to him. Dad, who are these people? What? Came from Washu-chan and Sasami. While Ryoki meows loudly. What is going on here? Tenchi's father asked when he came over to them. Naruto, who are those 2 with you? Well, you see, I'm Uzumaki Kushina, the demoness said to them. Are you friends with my father? She looked at Sasami for a moment. Dad, is she one of your precious people? Naruto looked shocked. He had wondered about her being his daughter, but that was a term he only said to his precious people. Yes, she is, Kushina. And what about her? Ryoko asked, pointing to the girl by Tenchi. She hid behind him. Hey! Stop hiding already. Tenchi, please explain this, his father said. Well, you see, I was walking from the temple while Naruto was walking to it, and the girl smiled and leaned against him. Daddy? Came from his father Aika and Ryoko. Tenchi, is there something you would like to tell us about? No. She's joking. Right. Of course not, Daddy. Tenchi dropped his shoulders. Naruto-kun came from Hinata, as she looked at the girl hugging him. At first, she was afraid he might have found someone else to love. A fox demon like himself, but then she saw the shark tail, as well. Mommy! Kushina jumped on her the second she let go of Naruto. No! Sasami groaned. Itadimisu, Kushina said before she started devouring a bowl of ramen. Followed by the sticks, as well. We lose more chopsticks that way, Naruto said while one of his tails scratched his cheek. Kushina, you should know better than that, Hinata said to her. Sorry, Mommy. How can you 2 just accept this is happening? Ryoko demanded. Because the proof is as plain as our tails, Naruto told her. Besides, I'm sure Washu can do a test to prove it. There is no way that girl can be your daughter just like she can't be Tenchi's daughter. Ryoko, do you know any other way to explain her? Hinata asked. You 2 aren't even old enough to have children. They looked at her and blushed. Actually, Ryoko, we can. We just choose to be in these forms. Mommy, Dad, why is she mad at me, and cousin Mayuka? It is just hard to explain, Naruto said, ruffling up her hair. She pouted angrily, as she put it back in place. Dad, you always do that. Even though it always takes a long time to get it right. Naruto grinned. That is just what fathers do, Kushina. No. I don't believe that they are who they say. She pointed to Mayuka. Who are you really, and what do you want from Tenchi? I am his daughter, she yelled back at Ryoko. When did he have you then? When he was 6. I can't explain it. Ryoko formed one of her energy swords. Tell the truth. Ryoko, calm down, came from Tenchi. What are you nuts? Mayuka demanded. No, I am very, very mad. She lunged at Mayuka, who ducked under her attack and started running. No, please stop. Oh, so now you are being polite. Tell me what you want. No. Energy began to flow off of Mayuka, and she created the Light Hawk sword. Mayuka! Kushina yelled, as the coral staff formed in her hands, and she jumped to help her friend. The two swung at Ryoko only to be caught by Katsuhito. I'm sorry ladies, but I just don't allow killing in the house for any reason. Okay, Kushina said, bowing to him. Yes, I'm sorry too, Mayuka said to him. Grandpa, did you see it? She had the Light Hawk sword. Relax Tenchi, don't get bent out of shape. You know, I have really worked up an appetite. How about you Missy, you want some noodles? Ramen. Yay. Everyone's sweat dropped, all thinking the same thing. Yeah, she is their daughter. Wash aside, I guess this means I don't get my favorite test subject after all. Ryoko, it seems to me you aren't worried about Kushina getting close to Naruto-sama and Hinata-sama, but Mayuka getting close to Tenchi hits the wrong button. They are demons of the strongest nature. And you happen to be in love with Tenchi. I can't believe you believe she is who she says. Ryoko, I thought you knew. She quickly grabbed a hair from both Kushina and Mayuka. I don't believe anything without scientific evidence. Thank you for cooperating, girls. She quickly ran into her lab, smiling as she did. Grr! Come back here, Kushina yelled, her mood shifting just like Naruto. She swiped her staff at her, but the door closed before she could. Ryer looked at Naruto and mewed. I noticed she smells just like me, Naruto said to her. Ramen, 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 Kushina chanted as she ate. She had a whole pot to herself. Where do they put it all, Mihoshi asked. I heard Washa say they have a hyper-accelerated metabolism, Tenchi's father said. Mayuka looked at her cousin consuming the noodles, so she tried some herself. Delicious. That's swell, Tenchi said, right next to her. Do you like noodles, Daddy? Sure. Which do you like better, noodles or me? Well, here Daddy, let me help you. Mayuka pulled some noodles from the bowl. I think I can handle it myself. But I want to. She put the noodles in his cup. There for you. She gave him back his cup. Gee, thanks a lot, Tenchi said nervously, as he took it back. This whole time, he could see Aika and Ryoko shaking, ready to explode. He thought it would happen when Ryoko stood up, shaking the table, but Katsuhito cleared his throat, and she sat back down with some effort. Daddy, is Ryoko upset or something? I'm sure she'll be fine. Kushina looked up from her ramen and swallowed. Dad, is something wrong? Naruto couldn't help but grin. He remembered that denseness. Everyone is just wondering what is going on, Kushina. This is kind of hard to take. Especially with how big you two are. Kushina tilted her head in confusion, but she soon went on to more important matters. Sasami-Nizan, I'm done. I'll take the pan and bowl it into the kitchen. She also took her still intact chopsticks. Came from Naruto. Hinata looked at her. Kushina, why did you call Sasami that? Because she is one of Dad's precious people. All of Dad's precious people are like a big sister or brother to me. She looked like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Naruto smiled at Kushina, and then at Sasami. Looks like you are a godmother in the future, Sasami. How do you know they are from the future, Sasami asked. Naruto shrugged. It makes sense to me that they would be. Well, I am glad to hear she is okay, came from Mayuka, as she reached for some more noodles. She reached for some more noodles, and Ryoko grabbed the ones she had pulled out, breaking them. What are you doing? Whatever I want. Those are my noodles. Wrong. They stood up, as their anger grew. What's your problem? You're the problem, you little phony. Mayuka growled at her. Oh yeah. She stomped a foot on the table. Ryoko returned the gesture. Yeah, wanna do something about it. Tenchi stood up and stretched. What a great meal. He started to walk away. Oh boy, I am stuffed. See you later. Where are you going, Daddy? I think I'll go take a bath. He left the room. I'll come too. Mayuka ran from the table, slipping her dress off as she went. She made it to the hallway before Aika, and Ryoko grabbed her. Why'd you do that? Washu slurped her noodles. So that is her story. She looked over at the second DNA strand. and hers. She laughed a little about Tenchi's problem, but signed on her own. Now explain it again, and this time try making sense, Ryoko said to Mayuka, much calmer than she was earlier. You can start with telling us why you came here, Aika told her. To see my daddy. I really love my daddy, Mayuka replied. She's not your daddy, Ryoko growled. Ryoko, you should stop yelling at her, Mihoshi said to Ryoko. You're not helping things. Oh fine. We know your name already, but where are you from, Mayuka? Aika asked her. Mayuka smiled, as she turned, oh well, I don't know. What? Now stop playing games with us. I'm not playing a game, believe me, Mayuka replied. How about something else then, Mihoshi asked. Where is your mother? Why isn't she here with you, dear? My mother? That's right. I don't remember anything about my mother, but I remember my father's face very well. Oh, in that case we only have to think about who has blue hair that we know. Come on now, Hinata said, as she held Kushina's hand along with Naruto. The two older women took one look at her hair, and growled. No, I can't be Hinata, Mihoshi said. Her eyes are nothing like hers. Hey, Sasami has blue hair, Mayuka offered. Both remember how the tsunami looked, and that she said Sasami would look just like her. God, I hope not, they said. Maybe we should think about what happened to her, Mihoshi said. Did your mother die, Mayuka? No. Why don't you remember her, Aika asked. I don't know. I just don't, that's all. Hey, maybe she has amnesia or something, Mihoshi stated. Tenchi was listening nearby. No, that can't be it. She remembers my face, or at least thinks she does. Tenchi, Washa said to him. Ah, hi there. I was just on my way to take a bath. I discovered something very interesting about that girl, Tenchi. What was that? First off, you really are her father. Congrats. Tenchi made this pitiful noise, and dropped the container he held. Sasami came up. Hey, want to have some watermelon, Washa? Affirmative. Hey everyone, I'm cutting some watermelon, want some? She ran outside. Tenchi finally moved. Washu, how can I be that girl's father? Don't know, but Naruto and Hinata really are Kushina's parents. And they are just as confused as you? And Washu actually expects us to believe that nonsense, Ryoko asked. Let's see. Mayuka says she is Tenchi's daughter, so that means her mother must be Tenchi's wife. That's only logical. Aika asked. Look, Mihoshi, there is no proof of any of this, so just stop chattering. That's right, Ryoko agreed. And just when did Tenchi get married, huh? That's easy, in the future. Ryoko pointed at Mayuka. Are you saying that little brat right there is from the future? Mayuka took a bite out of her watermelon, and spat the seeds out. Wow, Sasami, look how far they flew. She is not Tenchi's daughter, Ryoko said again. Absolutely correct, Aika agreed. Wrong, Mihoshi has it right this time. Washu walked over to the watermelon behind them. Yeah, that's right, girls. I tested the genetic structure of her hair. Hey, this looks pretty good. Anyway, half of her DNA matches Tenchi, just as you would expect from her father. Mihoshi looked happy while Aika and Ryoko looked shocked. See, I just knew it, Mihoshi cheered. That is impossible, Ryoko stated. Maybe, but there was a rip in the time-space grids. She paused to spit the seeds over the other women and take another bite. It happened right before they showed up. Quite a coincidence, wouldn't you say? Naruto, behind them, and covered with the seeds, wiped them off and said, "There's no such thing as coincidence." Then, they really did come from the future, Hinata asked. Well, there is no proof yet, and I haven't quite figured out the mother side of her DNA. Washa took another bite. Maybe it's one of you lucky girls. Aika took on a dreamy look. Lord Tenchi's wife is one of us girls? It might be me. I could just imagine. Oh yeah, fat chance, Aika, Ryoko said. Could be me, Mihoshi said. Or maybe Sasami when she is grown up. She does have blue hair. You are all too young to think about that, Naruto told them, making Washa laugh. Very funny now that one of us looks like Mayuka. What do you think, Mayuka? Aika asked, as she turned around, but she only saw Naruto and Hinata. Where is she? Mayuka and Kushina went to play, Naruto stated. I know where they went, Ryoko shouted. Tenchi sighed, as he tried to relax in the hot water. A daughter from the future, now that is confusing. He didn't hear the steps behind him. I sure don't feel like a father. Maybe this is just Wash's idea of a joke. Anyway, I'm glad I could come here to get away from all that. 2 hands covered his eyes. Guess who? Tenchi dropped under the water, and away from the hands. He came back up, looked at the naked Mayuka and Kushina, and turned away, making sure to cover himself. What are you two doing here? Both Kushina and Mayuka giggled. You shouldn't leave me behind, Daddy. It's so mean, and I want to be here. I'm taking a bath here, girls. As he said that, he turned around. Mayuka jumped on his back. Good, I'll take one with you. You're turning red, Daddy. Mayuka, get off of me. He pulled away from her. Listen to me. You stay right there, and I'm going to get out and put on a towel. Mayuka jumped on him. Don't get out yet, Daddy. Yeah, Uncle, Kushina said, as she jumped on him, as well, wanting attention too. We'll scrub your back, and you can scrub ours like before, Mayuka said to him. No. Kushina, Mayuka, please get out. Kushina, if your father sees you like this, I'm afraid of what he will do. I'm sure Dad will understand. He may be sweet to you, but he is a demon to others at times, Tenchi thought. Tenchi came from Yoko, as she ran in. Both her and Aika stopped when they saw what was happening. I am sure you are overreacting, it came from Naruto behind her. He reached them, and saw his daughter clinging to Tenchi. Tenchi, you have until I reach 5 to run. 4. Naruto, Ryoko, it isn't how it seems, I can explain everything. Both roared, as they lunged at them. Tenchi ran for dear life, afraid of both. When I catch you, I am sure, as hell going to alter the future. I'm going to get that brazen little hussy. She knows exactly what she is doing. Katsuhito and Hinata appeared, caught both girls, and wrapped them in a towel. That's a good girl. Next time you can take a bath with your grandfather, Katsuhito said to Mayuka. Are you Tenchi's father? Something like that. Okay, that will be fun. While Hinata, wearing a towel herself, come on, we'll go take a bath with Dad. She caught Naruto by the ear before he could strangle Tenchi. He began to purr, as Hinata rubbed it while she pulled him along, making Kushina laugh. Ryoko and Aika watched as both groups walked away. Is it just me or are they all acting weird? Ryoko asked. Yuzuka screamed while she ran around. He had to ruin it just as it was getting good. She dropped to the ground and started thinking about when she first met Yosho. She growled at how it was one of her good memories. Thanks for watching my video, and make sure to check out the author of this fanfic. Link is in the description. See you next time. Till then, sayonara.